So in today's class, we will be discussing the NCERT questions. So first, I would like to ask if anyone of you have any doubt, so we can discuss those questions, or else we'll discuss all the questions of NCERT. So if you have any doubts, please raise your hands. I'll unmute you and then we'll proceed. And you can also send me questions through chat. So I'll wait for you. Send me doubts that you have and then we'll proceed further, or else I'll discuss all the questions one by one. And please don't start your video. Everyone stop your video and keep the keep your audio muted. Okay, so I have a hand raise. Yes.
Or I want to know the process of electrolysis again.
Okay, the process of electrolysis. Okay, I'll
Yes,
explain
sir.
that. Okay, so now we'll be discussing the process of electrolysis as asked by Bhavika. So electrolysis is basically the breakdown using electrolysis. Okay, so if we see electrolysis, this is made up of two words that are electro plus lysis. Okay, so over here, electro means electricity and lysis means breakdown. So together, the word electrolysis means breakdown using electricity. Now, if we break down any compound using electrolysis, we if we break down any compound using electricity, the process is known as electrolysis. Okay. Now, what we discussed here was the electrolysis of water. Now, for this, we have a particular setup where in a container we have water. So the container is filled with water. Okay. Now suppose this is our container and it is filled with water. Now there are two rods that are put into the container. Let this be the first rod. Let this be the second rod. Okay, so one is known as the anode and the other is known as cathode. Now to give you an idea about which one is anode and which one is cathode, so these are the two rods, and what we do is we connect a battery like this. So this is the positive terminal of the battery and this is the negative terminal of the battery. Now this is the positive terminal, therefore this rod will be positive, and this is the negative terminal, so this rod will be negative. Now the positive rod is known as anode. Yes, I will explain oxidation also, but let's first focus on to this, and the negative one is cathode. So this is the setup that we use for electrolysis. Now what happens is, when electricity passes, this H2O, when electricity is passed, breaks down into H2 gas plus O2 gas to balance. Okay, so this is the balanced equation. Now what happens, on the cathode we have the hydrogen gas deposits at the cathode during this process, and the oxygen gas gets deposited at the anode. For you, understanding this much will be okay, and this is the basic reaction of electrolysis of water. I hope it's clear to you, Bhavika. Okay, now we'll move ahead and take the other doubt that was explained, and that was about oxidation. Okay, so now the second doubt is about oxidation. After all your doubts, I'll be quickly discussing the NCERT questions, and then we'll proceed with the next chapter. So oxidation. When we talk about oxidation, as the name only suggests, it is something related. We have three conditions when we discuss about oxidation. Everyone, please switch off your mute your microphones, as it will as it will be disturbing for others. Okay, so oxidation, there are three definitions. The first one being addition of oxygen. Second one is removal of hydrogen. And the third one is loss of electron. Okay, reduction of hydrogen. Okay, I have two more questions. That one is reduction of hydrogen. So I would just like the one who has asked this question, that is the reduction of hydrogen. Please, can you elaborate the question and how to balance a chemical equation? This I will explain again. Okay, and this we will be this I'll explain again to you. Okay. Then these are the three definitions that we have for oxidation. So if there is addition of oxygen, I'll give you examples for each case. Okay, so the first thing, the first reaction that I'll show you is for addition of oxygen. Here we have magnesium solid, which reacts with air to give out magnesium oxide. Okay, so this is, here clearly oxygen is getting added to magnesium, so this is an example of oxidation. Now when we discuss it in terms of, please everyone mute yourself and don't start your videos, okay, as it will be disturbing for others. Okay, so now we'll be moving ahead on to the second part, that is removal of hydrogen. Now when we are considering removal of hydrogen, I'll give you one reaction, that is This substance is known as ethanol, and on reaction we use an oxidizing agent in this reaction. So oxidizing agent is something that you'll study about in senior classes. Please, no one switch on your, like, everyone keep your mic on mute as it will be disturbing for others. Okay, so this is ethanol. This is ethanol which is converted to ethanol. Okay, so clearly here we had 3 plus 2 plus 1, 6 hydrogens, but in over here we only have 4 hydrogen. So clearly there is removal of hydrogen, and therefore this is known as oxidation. Now coming on to the third, that is loss of electrons. Here we are considering this reaction where we have copper ions which react with magnesium.
Give an example of.
Just a minute, you can raise your hand or send me the question through chat. Please don't directly switch on your mics, otherwise it will be a problem for all. Okay, so now after this we get, now clearly we have magnesium, but now it has become 2 plus, therefore it has lost 2 electrons. So this is also oxidation. Okay, so these are the three types of reactions explaining every condition. So I hope oxidation is clear. Now taking on to the next question, that was how to balance a chemical equation. So for balancing any chemical equation, okay, also I'll give an example of decomposition reaction, but that will be after I explain how to balance a chemical equation. Okay, so firstly I'll tell you how to balance a chemical equation. So for balancing a chemical equation, what we'll do is, yes, I'll take your doubt after this. The decomposition reaction doubt will be after this. So the first one, that was balancing any chemical equation. So let this be our chemical equation. Now we need to balance this. What we do is we make a table. Okay, so to make the table, this is what we do. Here, here's our table. Now what we do is we write down our elements that are present. This is the reactant side and this is the product side. Okay, so the elements are hydrogen and oxygen. Now at the reactant side there are 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen, and at the product side there are 2 hydrogen and 2 oxygens. Now in order to make 2 oxygen we have equal hydrogens, but also we need equal oxygens, so we have to multiply this one by 2. Now clearly the reactant has only one compound, so multiplying by 2, if we multiply by 2, hydrogen also gets multiplied by 2. Now here the hydrogen becomes 4 in number, so we also need to multiply this by 2. Therefore we have a 2 added over here. So this is our balanced chemical reaction. I hope how to balance a chemical reaction is clear to you. Now I will take the next doubt, that is That is about decomposition reaction. So whosoever wanted this, here is your doubt. You can note it down. I'll wait for you. You can understand. If you have any more doubts, you can ask. I'll wait. Okay. So for decomposition reaction, what is the definition of decomposition reaction? So this is the basic identification that I told you, that a single reactant gives out two or more products. So considering this reaction only, we have hydrogen and we have water, that is one compound which breaks down into two products. So this is also a decomposition reaction. Yes, hello. Um, Whosoever raised their hand, please, I have unmuted you. You can ask your question. Yes, Anubhav. Hello, Anubhav. You have raised your hand. What's your doubt? Hello, Anubhav. Any doubts that you have? I guess you have no doubts. So we'll move ahead then. Okay. So this, as asked by, as the question was asked, that give an example of decomposition reaction. So this reaction, which I've put in the red box, is an example of decomposition reaction. Now, if you have any more doubts, you can again raise them, or else we'll move on to the NCERT questions. Okay, so I guess I have one more doubt. That is, explain double decomposition reaction. Okay, so coming on to double decomposition reaction. First of all, I guess what you want to ask is double displacement. If you can please clarify your doubt, I will unmute you and then. Hello. Whosoever had this doubt about double decomposition reaction, can you please reframe your question and tell me about, is it double displacement that you want to ask about? Because there is nothing like double decomposition you want to know about. Okay, so in double decom so the reaction that you are asking about is double decomposition. So double decomposition, this is a reaction that is similar to like double displacement reaction. Okay, I'll clear this board and then I'll explain you again. It is double decomposition that you are asking about. It is similar to double displacement. And in this, what happens is we have two aqueous reactants which with this I'll give you an example and then explain this to you. We have, suppose we have silver nitrate plus sodium chloride. These are two aqueous solutions that we have. Here what happens is when we react, silver chloride plus sodium nitrate is formed. So this is basically a double displacement reaction, and in this reaction what happens is that the ions of these ionic compounds get exchanged. So clearly silver was along with nitrate, but now silver is along with chloride. So nitrate and chloride, these are exchanged. So this is what happens in double decomposition or double displacement reaction. I hope your doubt is clear now. Okay. Now the other doubt is, okay, so what do you want me to repeat about the double displacement reaction? Okay, I'll explain that again. So what happens in a double displacement reaction is that at the reactant part, the reactant, we have two ionic compounds. So one being silver nitrate and the other being sodium chloride, and they both are in their aqueous state. And what happens is the ions of these get exchanged in the product side. Okay, so you can clearly see here, when we see at the reactant side, silver and nitrate were together, but when we see the product, silver and chloride are together now. Similarly, as sodium and chloride were together, now sodium and nitrate are together. So clearly nitrate and chloride have interchanged their position at the product side. Okay, so this is what happens in a double displacement reaction, and the product, one of the product formed is insoluble salt, which is known as precipitate. Okay, so this is what double displacement is. Okay, now the question is, someone wants me to explain activity 1.7. So if we move on to the activity 1.7, what this activity is to electrolyze water. Okay, so I had just now explained, but we'll do it again. Everyone is requested to please focus on to this. What happens is, to electrolyze water using a 6-volt battery and check the volume of gas liberated at anode and cathode. Okay, and the activity also asks us to bring the gas at flame and see what happens. Okay, so this is our container, and then we have water inside it. Okay, so we have a container filled with water, and what we do is, now this is a container filled with water. We have two rods, as I told you earlier. So these are our two rods which are dipped in this water. This is the first rod, and this is the second rod. Now we are using a 6-volt battery. So we connect a 6-volt battery. This is the symbol of battery in between the two rods. Now as this is the positive terminal, this is the negative terminal, this rod becomes positively charged and is known as anode. Whereas this rod, please everyone mute your microphones. This rod is negatively charged and is known as cathode. Okay, so at the positively charged rod, the oxygen gas gets deposited, whereas at the negatively charged, the hydrogen gas gets deposited. Okay, so there are bubbles of these gases, there are bubbles of these gases. Now when we see the equation, it is somewhat like this. So clearly we see that for one oxygen produced, two hydrogen gas are produced. So clearly at the negative rod, the gas produced is double. Double gas produced because hydrogen and oxygen are present in the ratio 2:1. So two hydrogens are produced for one oxygen, therefore hydrogen will be double. And this is the phenomenon. This To check the presence of hydrogen gas, we bring the hydrogen gas near a flame, a burning flame, and what happens is the gas hydrogen gas when brought near a flame, when brought near a flame, gives pop sound. Okay, pop sound. So this is what will happen when we bring the a burning flame near the gas. Okay, and so I hope you understand this. So now I have two hand raises. Yes, Bhavika, what's your doubt?
Or how will we extract oxygen gas from water?
Okay, so what I'll tell you about this, but there's no need to extract any gas. What happens is these gases are in the form of bubbles. Okay, so you'll clearly identify that some gas is being released. Okay, so for extracting these gases, it's further, it's like a higher and complicated processes which you will be studying ahead. But for now, you need to understand this only, that these are the two gases formed, and the oxygen gas is settled is at the anode, and the hydrogen gas is at the cathode. Okay, so uh, you can like I hope it's clear for you for now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I have another doubt. Yes, please.
Yes. सर ऑक्सीजन एनोड पे ही क्यों आ रहा है, कैथोड पे क्यों नहीं? और हाइड्रोजन सिर्फ कैथोड पे क्यों? या फिर वो किसी पे भी आ सकता है?
Okay. Nahi, I'll explain this to you. Okay. So what happens is this happens because of certain reactions that happen during electrolysis of water. So if you we need to go into details to understand why this is happening. So there are certain reactions which happen, and if you want, I'll give you the reactions, but it will be complicated. So I'll give you an example. So what happens is we have hydrogen ions and we have oxygen ions, and water has two ions, hydrogen and hydroxide ions. Now what happens at cathode? As you can see, cathode, it is negatively charged, so it attracts the hydrogen ions. Negative will always attract positive, so the hydrogen ions move towards the positive cathode. So hydrogen ions go to the cathode, and you see that this is a complete circuit. Water is a uh, conductor of electricity. So what happens is, in this manner, our circuit is completed and electrons are present in this rod. Uh, there is flow of electricity only when there is flow of electrons. So this hydrogen ion gets mixed with two electrons to give out hydrogen gas at cathode. Now when we see anode is positively charged, and it attracts OH minus ions. Okay, so clearly what happens is these OH minus ions, there's a reaction that goes on, and oxygen gas is formed at the anode. Now, if I would be discussing those reactions, many of you would be getting confused as these reactions aren't involved involved in your syllabus now, and they are a bit complex, so you can get confused. But if you still want me, I can discuss that with you. So if this much is okay, we can continue further. But if you want the reactions, I'll give you the reactions also. So I guess we should move ahead. But still, whosoever had this doubt, I hope it's clear now. But if you want it, okay. So the question is, now I have another question. Okay, so should we move? Just a minute, I'll take that question. Okay, I hope your question about the why hydrogen and oxygen are present is cleared, that they are series of reactions. Okay, if it's clear, I have unmuted you. You can tell me, is it clear or not? Hello.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So now our next question that I have is, what type of chemical reactions are used? I'll read it loud for all of you, that what type of chemical reactions, you can note this down. I guess this is not in the exercise, so if you want, you can note this down, is used to extract metals from naturally occurring compounds. Okay, so I guess this is a question that you should be studying in the chapter metallurgy. So, but still, I'll take this doubt and clear it for you. So what happens is, basically, to give you a basic idea, it is the decomposition reaction that is used to extract. Okay, so for you at this level, or considering this chapter, it is the decomposition reaction that we use. Okay, I hope your doubt is clear, that it is the decomposition reaction that we use to obtain metal from the naturally occurring compounds like oxides. I hope your doubt is clear. Now, any more doubts you have, you can ask. Any doubts, or else I'll discuss the NCERT questions now. We'll discuss them quickly. I have the answers ready for you. So as I see no hand raises or questions, I'll move on to the NCERT. Okay, so now moving on to the NCERT. Now moving on to the NCERT, we have the first question, which reads, which of the statements about the reaction below are incorrect? So clearly, this is our reaction, which shows lead oxide is reacting with carbon to give out lead plus carbon dioxide. Okay, so clearly here there is removal of oxygen in lead. Okay, so here lead oxide is getting reduced. Clearly lead oxide, that is this, is getting reduced. So D is correct. Therefore A is wrong. Now here carbon is getting here carbon, when we see the product side, there's addition of oxygen. So clearly carbon is getting oxidized. Therefore C is also correct, that carbon is getting oxidized. So clearly C and D are correct and A and B are wrong. Now we'll move on to the options. The options are first one A and B. So clearly option 1 is correct, that A and B are the incorrect statements. So here you have the solution, that is A and B, and the explanation when we see that A is correct because oxygen is being removed from lead ox. Okay, I guess I have a doubt. In refining of silver, the recovery of silver from silver nitrate solution involved displacement by copper metal. And what's the equation of this? Okay, so I'll give you the equation for this. The process is of refining of silver. Okay, so when we see refining of silver, I'll get the board for you. Okay, so seeing what we'll be seeing now is refining of silver. Now to show you the reaction, this is the reaction that is involved. We have silver nitrate. I'll see your question. The recovery of silver from silver nitrate solution. Okay, so we have a solution that is, it is aqueous. Okay, just a moment. We have silver nitrate in the presence of copper metal, displacement by copper metal, and what's the equation? Okay, so we have copper metal. So what happens is, in this reaction, I'll directly write the balanced reaction. Copper nitrate is formed as a product. Okay, so this is the reaction that is involved. This happens because copper is more reactive as compared to silver, and therefore it displaces silver and forms a compound with nitrate, and we get silver. So I hope this doubt is clear. Okay, and the next doubt that I have is, can nitrogen cause oxidation? Okay, now with this, I want you to please clarify. Are you asking this question with respect to the food materials which contains fats, uh, or is it something else that you want to ask? Okay, so this is I guess this question and the question that I have, that is, why food products containing fats and oils are packed in nitrogen. Okay, packed with nitrogen gas. So what happens is, we have uh, like suppose we have our bag of chips, and this is our chips that are present. So what happens is, you see that uh, these are filled with gases, and these are mostly nitrogen gases that, okay, so these are the nitrogen gases that is filled, and this is filled because what, here we have the concept of rancidity. So rancidity is the oxidation of fats and oils, which makes them foul in taste and makes them possess bad smell. So what we do is, oxidation happens in the presence of oxygen. So for oxidation, O2 is needed. But what we do is, we fill the whole bag of chips with nitrogen. Therefore, there is no oxygen present in it. As there is no oxygen, there will be no oxidation. Okay, so there is no oxidation, and as there is no oxidation, rancidity is prevented. Rancidity is prevented. Okay, I hope it's clear. Okay, so now I have a question, balance equation on page number 7 in Do You Know. So for that, I'll open up the equation. On page number 7, do you know? Just a minute, give me a moment. So on page number 7, do you know? Okay. So the equation over here is calcium hydroxide aqueous reacts with carbon dioxide gas to give out calcium carbonate solid plus water. Okay, so now to balance this, what we'll do is we'll first make our table. So this is our reactant, this is our product. We'll write our elements. The first calcium hydrogen okay, so this is our table that we have. Here we'll write our elements. I'll take up your doubts one by one, okay? So don't worry, all your doubts will be cleared. We have the reactants, we have the products. Okay, so we have the element calcium, and then we have carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. So calcium, we have one calcium at the reactant side, one at the product side. When we see oxygen, we have 4. When we see carbon, there's one carbon over here, there's one carbon over here. Now when we see oxygen, there are 4 oxygen at the reactant side and there are 4 oxygen at the product side. Now when we move on to hydrogen, there are 2 hydrogen over here and 2 hydrogen over here. So clearly it is already a balanced chemical reaction, so we need not balance it again. Okay, I hope it's clear that the one who asked me to balance the chemical reaction, I would like to say that this chemical reaction is already balanced. Now I have the next question, that is, what happens when silver chloride is exposed to sunlight? Okay, now to answer this, what is the chemical equation and one use also? I'll take your question. Firstly, let me clear the board. I hope the doubt of balancing this equation is clear. Now the question is, what happens when silver chloride is exposed to sunlight and what its chemical equation and one use also. Okay, so we have our silver chloride. I'll directly write the balanced equation for this also. When exposed to sunlight, it undergoes decomposition reaction to give out silver plus chlorine gas. Okay, so this is the chemical reaction in it of the same, and the use for this is that this is used in black and white photography. So to answer your question as a whole, I'd like to say that when silver chloride is exposed to sunlight, it undergoes decomposition reaction, and this is the equation of that reaction. And to give you one use of it, it is used in black and white photography. Okay, so I hope it is clear. You can note down the chemical reaction if you want. I'll wait for you for 30 seconds. Okay. I hope it's clear. Now I have a hand raise.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yes, Bhavika, what's your question?
Sir, what is the difference between double displacement and displacement reaction?
Okay, I'll give you the answer to it. So what happens is, I'll clear the board first. I'll then I'll take up this question and then I'll take the next question. So this the difference between displacement and double displacement. Okay, I'll take up all the hand raises and questions through chat one by one. Okay, so displacement and double displacement. So what happens is, in displacement reaction, clearly the more reactive metal, or we say element, displaces the less reactive element to form compound. Whereas in double displacement reaction, there is an exchange of elements in the compounds. Okay, so I guess it should be clear to you, Bhavika. Okay, now I'll move on to the next hand raise. Yes, what's your
So,
question?
what type of chemical reaction is responsible for causing rancidity?
Rancidity, oxidation happens. Oxidation is the reaction that happens and causes rancidity. Oxidation of the fats that is present, fats and oils, they get oxidized. This is what results in rancidity. I hope it's clear to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'll take the question through chat which was here. That is, how is, okay, so I told you about that the reaction of silver chloride, it is used in black and white photography. So the question is, how is it used in black and white photography? So this is something which is not a part of your syllabus, but still, what happens is the light sensitivity of silver chloride, it is the key to this photographic process. So there are tiny crystals of these compounds and which are used to make the photographic films. So you must have seen in the older cameras. Okay, please switch off your microphones. Okay, so you have seen there were photography films in the olden cameras. So these they were made using these silver chlorides, or we say silver halides, which were silver bromides were also used. So when these were exposed to light, a chemical reaction darkened the film. Okay, the film which was present, which was made up of silver chloride. Please switch off your microphones. It is disturbing for all. So what happened is we had the silver films, and when sunlight used to fall on them, they used to darken a bit. Okay. So suppose we had our film, we had sunlight falling on it. So wherever the image was there, suppose we had a tree. So what happened is the film would have darkened in the shape of a tree. So this is how they were used in photography, black and white photography. I hope your doubt is clear. Now I have a hand raise. Yes, what's your question?
So, what happens when an aqueous solution of sodium sulfate reacts with an aqueous solution of barium sulfate? Chloride,
Okay,
sorry.
okay, so this is okay, I'll take your doubt. It is sodium, okay, sodium sulfate, okay, and barium chloride if I'm not wrong. sodium sulfate and barium chloride. These are aqueous, as we use the solutions of the same. What happens is barium sulfate plus, just a minute, barium sulfate is formed along, which is solid, the precipitate, along with sodium chloride solution. So this is what happens when when sodium sulfate aqueous solution reacts with barium chloride aqueous solution. I hope your doubt is cleared. Okay, your doubt is clear now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we'll move on to the next question. That is, what are the consequences of rancidity? So what happens is, due to rancidity, there is bad rancidity causes bad smell and bad taste to whatever food that becomes rancid. Okay, so I hope your doubt is clear that what are the consequences of rancidity. It brings bad smell or bad odor and bad taste to the food. I hope your doubt is clear now. So any more doubts that we have, you can send me through questions or send me through chat. Yes. Any more questions, or is it, or all the questions, all the doubts are cleared? Seeing no question. Okay, I have a hand raised. Yes,
So
what's your
what color does the turmeric paper turn when put it in an alkaline solution?
okay? So your question is, what color? Can you just a minute? So I'll write it down for
So
everybody. Uh, she asked the question about turmeric paper. So what turmeric paper is? Turmeric paper is an indicator. Okay. Now, what an indicator is, it indicates about acids or bases. Okay, so what happens is,
So the
yeah,
question is, what
yeah, yeah,
happens to the
yeah,
turmeric paper when put it in an alkaline solution?
yeah, I understand your question. Like for everybody, I'm telling you, an alkaline solution is a solution of a base in water. Therefore, we are testing a basic solution. Now, what happens is, when it is put into a basic solution, it turns red. The turmeric that is usually yellow, it turns red when put in a basic solution. Okay, I hope you've got the answer.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. Any more questions that I have? If you have no doubts, okay, I have a question. That is, how we know that compound is either solid, liquid, or aqueous. Okay, so with this I discussed earlier in the first lecture, that what happens is, whenever we use any compound, it is mostly we use it in the aqueous state. Okay, any compound that we are using, but because this happens when we consider any solid, it is very tough to mix any solids or to react them together. Okay, so mixing of solids is tough, reacting them together. Please switch off your microphones. Whosoever has switched on their microphone, please switch them off. Okay, so please mute your microphones. It can be a disturbance for everyone. And now we were discussing about solids. So the mixing of solids is tough, and moreover the reaction is problematic when we consider solids. So therefore we use aqueous solutions of the same. And then mostly we have the aqueous solutions whenever we consider reactions. Now whenever we consider H2O, H2O is always in the liquid form or gaseous form. We never consider aqueous H2O, because by aqueous we mean a mixture with water. So this is one fact. And solids, we all have seen, these are generally metals or the ash or the powder form. Any powder or metal that we are using are considered as solids. Now coming, please switch off your microphone. Okay. So what happens is, liquid is only used in case of water. Solid is used whenever we are using any kind of powder or any metal, solid metal that we are using. And aqueous is any compound, solution of any compound. Whenever they are saying any solution, we should understand that it is aqueous in state. Please explain this I've received. Please explain. What do you want me to explain again? Is the state? Just a minute. I'll unmute you and then you can tell me. Hello. So the question that I received on chat, that is to explain again. What do you want me? Do you want me to explain the states again? The states of matter?
Sir, this question, please explain it again.
What about the states of
Yes, sir.
matter?
No,
Hello.
sir, aqueous
Okay.
about your topic.
Okay. Aqueous and solids. Okay, I'll tell you again. So always keep in mind, I'll repeat this.
Sir, this you are.
Yeah, I'll explain it again. Don't worry. Okay, so what happens is, whenever we are considering solids, this means whatever substance we are considering, it will be either powder or any solid metal. Okay, so if it is any of the two, we consider it to be a solid. Now liquid, when we are considering liquids, we only consider water. Okay, and then when we have the aqueous means solution. So if you have any question which is stating a solution of sodium chloride, a solution of so and so, it should be clear to you that in this case the state will be aqueous. Okay, so I hope it's clear to you. Any more doubts that we have? Any doubts you have, you can raise your hand or send me through chat and I'll take your doubt. Any doubt? Anyone? So I feel there are no more doubts. Okay, so there are no doubts. Therefore, I think we'll end with today's class. And there are few important things that I want you to do before the next class. I want you to go and revise the whole chapter. On the S2S app, you'll get the videos and you'll also get the recordings of classes on YouTube channel. So go and subscribe the channel and watch our videos there, and watch our videos on the S2S app. You'll revise the whole chapter, and also tell your friends whosoever are not able to attend the classes to do this same. And then the assignment will be sent to you for this chapter, and we'll be discussing the assignments in the next class. And then you are requested to please attempt the test for this chapter on the S2S app. And then if you have any doubts, you can tell me and we will work on to it. And then please give your feedback about the classes that are going on through emails, and you can also give the feedback through WhatsApp, and you can mention your name, phone number, and your parents' name. Okay, so please rate and also review our app on S2S. And if there are any more doubts, you can give me the doubts. I'll take it. Okay, so when is okay, so the test, you can go on to the S2S app. There you can open the chapter and you will have an option to attempt the test. So there you can attempt the test, and then okay, so you can attempt the exercises and quizzes that are present in, and you can evaluate where you are lacking or wherever any doubt you have, and then we can take up that part. Okay, I hope it's clear to you all. So if you have any doubts regarding the same, you can ask. So I feel there are no hand raises or any questions that I am getting through chat. So I feel we are done with. Okay, I have a hand raise now. Yes, Bhavika.
Yes, sir. What is the importance of balancing an equation?
Okay, so the importance of balancing an equation is, we studied, we studied about the law of conservation of matter. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so what happens is, we know that mass is always conserved. It can neither be created nor be destroyed. So in whatever reaction we do, suppose we have a certain amount of elements present at the reactant side, the same amount should be present at the product side also. Okay, so in order to maintain this law of conservation of matter, we have to balance the equations. Okay. So I hope all your doubts are cleared. So before the next class, please complete the NCERT questions for this chapter and attempt the quizzes that we have. And then if you have any doubts, you can ask in the next class, or else we'll start with the new chapter. Okay, so we are uh, done with this chapter for now until you have doubts. And if you have doubts, you can ask me in later classes. Thank you. Now I'll end the lecture if you don't have any doubts. I'll wait for you for a minute and then we'll end. Okay, seeing no doubts, I guess I'll end the meeting now. Thank you. Stay in house, stay safe, and
Thank you, sir.
okay, thank you.